Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's Monday night panel. Very disappointing weekend for both the ladies and the men this weekend, but we'll talk more about that when we get the panel on. So I'm going to bring Vic on first. Good evening.
A very good evening to you, Chris. I know you were at the women's game yesterday. A disappointing result against Bournemouth. 2 losses in a week, having won every game up until then, but against quite good class opposition, I think it's fair to say.
They certainly were, and they didn't make it easy for them. Bournemouth are in the next league division up. Very hard side, very physical. And the girls done well, but just not enough. But but back to league. And then they'll start winning again. So
yeah, SAS, of course. Tomorrow we travel to the East Midlands. We've still got spaces for tomorrow. Lots, says SAS. Leaving 2 p.m. from the county ground. £23 for members, £25 for non-members. So if you want to go to Notts County on SAS, there are still spaces available for that for tomorrow. A few left. Brackets, not surprisingly, closed brackets, for Harrogate next Tuesday, leaving the Niger Lady County ground at 12:30 next Tuesday afternoon. Members £37, non-members £39, and there's a reserve list running for a third coach for Shrewsbury. Needs 6 or 7 more before it can be confirmed, and only a few places left on a second coach for Barnet. That's on the 17th of February. Departs to Niger Lady County ground at 4 p.m. Members £21, non-members £23. So that's the SAS news. There are spaces available for Notts County tomorrow, should you wish to go there.
Excellent. So let's bring the panel on. We got Rob.
Evening.
Evening.
And we got Andy, and we got Ray.
Good evening.
Evening.
I'll speak to it, and I'll speak to you later.
Thanks very much indeed, Chris. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us this evening. Sort of a hasty arranged panel in many ways, because we thought we ought to talk about the events of Bromley and indeed Salford last Tuesday, and look ahead to Notts County this Tuesday. Tuesday seems to be now the regular day for Swindon Town to play football matches. Ray, you were at Bromley on Saturday. I have to say, I know they're redoing the ground and everything, but first and foremost, the facilities weren't great, were they? Let's be honest about it.
No, not really. I know we have some complaints about ours, but yeah, they weren't great really. But yeah, not to hold that against them really. If you look at how the club's growing, and don't begrudge them the growth they've had and the way it's going for them. But in answer to your question, not great.
No, I think it's a fair point. I mean, let's be honest. I don't know if any of you have seen the film The Bromley Boys, which is a fantastic film to watch if you want to see that. It's about when they were in their non-league days, when 3 men, a dog, and the dog wasn't too happy to go along, went along. They have grown considerably, haven't they?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely, they have, and it looks like the community is behind them as well, which is a good thing as well. And I think that was their biggest crowd in 68 years or something. Was it? I read this week, 60 odd years anyway.
Yeah, incredible. Andy, your impressions of Saturday?
The ground or the game?
Well, either. You take your pick, or both. It's up to you.
We'll start with the ground. As Ray said, it wasn't great, was it? But they are apparently doing some work underneath the new standstill. So hopefully, if we do go there again next season, it will look a lot better for away supporters. As for the game, a game of 2 halves. Great first half, in which we should have been, easily 3-0 up at half time. And then a complete and utter different stance for the second half, where we seem to want to play to their strengths. So a little bit disappointing.
Anthony says exactly that. Still rolling my eyes from another Jekyll and Hyde performance from us on Saturday. Great one half, poor the other. I think, Rob, most of us were very impressed with the first half. The football they played was pretty excellent. And of course, it was a great goal on his full debut, I think it's fair to say, for young Holman after a great move. So then to come out and immediately concede at the start of the second half, and then it all fell apart. I think that's fair to say, isn't it?
Goals change games, don't they? And that one at the start of the second half clearly changed this one. I mean, I think if anyone was unhappy with that first half performance, and I think they need their head read, because I thought we were absolutely excellent. You've got to take it into account that Bromley haven't been beaten at home this season. Okay, we've talked about the facilities. They make life very, very difficult for every team they play against. They're a huge team. They're very physical. They've got one direct style of play that they really do try and get the ball in the final third as quickly as they possibly can. And long throw-ins, long balls into the penalty area to 6'6", 6'7" players. It's going to be difficult to defend against. And let's be quite frank, if their goalkeeper's foot hadn't have been in the way, Swindon could easily have been 3 up at half-time and Holman could have had a first-half hat-trick. Because we were that good in the first half, we would have merited that lead. Everybody is now focusing on what happened in the second 45, rightly so, because you don't get points for 45 minutes, so I totally get that. But you can't just dismiss the first half performance and say everything was bad on Saturday, because it wasn't. And had we been able to cling on in the last few minutes to a 1-1 draw, that would have been a half-decent result, to be quite honest. So there's an awful lot of bad press towards the goalkeeper for the goal. I get that. He should have got off the ground a lot earlier and he might not have been beaten in the air if that was the case. But the bottom line is, stop the cross coming in. He doesn't have to do it himself. So it's never one person's fault when it comes to goals conceded. There's almost always more than one story to tell. And there was again on Saturday there. But we think down the other end, although that second half performance wasn't great, deflected shot from Palmer goes in rather than goes on the top of the netting. Town are 2-1 up with 10 minutes left and probably go on to win the game. So, and we can do the same. We can go through the same scenario for Salford last Tuesday. We were done by a poor refereeing decision, a very, very poor refereeing decision on 2 occasions. Second goal for Salford shouldn't have happened because it should have been a penalty to us. Equaliser for us should have happened because it was possibly one of the best dives since Tom Daly in the Olympics in the penalty area from that Salford defender, who, quite frankly, retrospectively should be banned by the FA for clear deception for the referee. So whilst we can argue till we're blue in the face about the merits and the demerits of the performances, we've been very close on both of the last 2 occasions to getting something from the game. And even if you go back to the home game against Salford, even though they were the better side, how that equaliser didn't go in 2 or 3 minutes from the end in the Town end goal, I'm still not sure. So things are not desperately bad, as people say. You do have blips in the season, of course you do. We're going through one now. The fixtures have been very, very tough. We just have to roll this wave and come back out fighting as strong as we possibly can tomorrow night.
Yeah, Saturday's statistics, Bromley 2, Swindon Town 1. Ashley Charles on 46 minutes and Nick Kabamba on 89 minutes for the hosts. Fletcher Holman, of course, with that goal on 10 minutes, a beautifully crafted goal, crossing from the right-hand side, and then Holman found the back of the net. 0-1 at half-time. Assists Idris Odateo on 89 minutes, Aaron Drinnan on 10 minutes, 4-3-3 for Swindon on Saturday. Ripley, then Wright, who was replaced by McGregor on 73. Ball, Tavazzoli and Wilson Brown across the back. Borland, who was replaced by Snowden on 94. Nichols, replaced by Middlemass on 74. And then Kilkenny. And then up front, Drinnan, Palmer and Holman, who was replaced by Ola Kigby on 73 minutes. Possessions, Bromley 47.1%, Swindon 52.9%. Who cares about possession, Ray? We lost 2-1. That's the way of it, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely it is. And and just for me, one of the most frustrating points from Saturday was the timing of the 2 goals, really, for them. The one at the beginning of the second half was a killer, and I'm sure that had a massive effect on the mentality for second half. And then when it looked like we were going to ride it out and get that point that Rob mentioned, that to get the other one so late as well, I think it was the timing of the 2 goals in the second half were the biggest killer for me. I agree. The first half performance was really good, and it looked like we had them on the rack. And had they not scored so early, I think we would have got at least a point out of that.
Yeah, I totally. I mean, some of the football in the first half was the best we played this season, I would think, and against a team who'd before last Saturday against Chesterfield had won 8 on a row or something silly like that. They've got a fantastic record. So, yeah, we shouldn't underestimate the opposition. Maybe, Andy, sometimes people do underestimate the opposition and go, "Oh, it's only Bromley." Well, fair play to Bromley; they're top of the league by 6 points.
Exactly right. You know, they're on merit, aren't they? They play the way they play. They're big, and they deserve to be where they are, right at the top of the league. What is it now? Six points clear, are they, or something like that?
Yeah.
So they absolutely deserve to be there. You know, we've got to go to Notts County tomorrow night, who are only just behind us, and put on a performance and try and cut out some of these silly errors. Hopefully, Ollie Clark's back tomorrow night. I think he's due to be back, isn't he?
Well, who knows? We may find out tomorrow. Who knows?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I we will discuss the Luton thing in a minute because no news has come out about it, and we don't know whether Ollie Clark will be playing or not. I mean, in theory, he should be. But going back to the cup tie as well, Ray, we've heard what Rod had to say about it. What was your take on that?
Yeah, I think I was just listening before we came on to Holloway's presser for this Notts County game, and he was talking about fine margins, and I think Salford game definitely fell into that. I mean, we could easily have come out that with a win on that Tuesday night. I felt, and and again the response, kind of same sort of game as in the league up there, the way we fell behind and why we fell behind. But the response again was really good, and I thought, I thought it looked like we would go on and win that. So I was reasonably positive. I quite enjoyed the game, if I'm honest, as well. It was a decent cup tie. I came out of it feeling reasonably positive after a poor start again. They're a decent side as well. Talk about Bromley. They are a decent side, Salford.
Well, they're second in the league. We'll go through the league table in a minute. Your recollection of that cup tie, Andy?
Yeah, as Ray said, it was a great game to watch. If you're a neutral, that is. But I think the last three games, to be honest, have been games of fine margins. We could have quite easily be sat here today saying, we're in the fourth round of the FA Cup, and we're still second, just off Bromley now. But unfortunately, not. We're saying that we're down to 6, and we've had 3 defeats on the trot. So, it's that's where we are, and now we've got to try and pick ourselves back up. And get a result at Notts County tomorrow and put on a performance, and then try and get rid of some of these silly little errors that we seem to keep conceding silly goals.
I think it's worth making the point that's the first time in well over a calendar year that we've lost back-to-back games, isn't it? So let's not all be doom and gloom. I mean, the record's been pretty good up till now, but unfortunately we've lost 2 league games in a row. Loads of comments coming in. And I'll leave this one hanging for a minute, Kevin. It's a great question. But we'll get back to this later if you don't mind. Are we worried about the playoffs not being reached or automatic? I'll leave that one just there, and we'll come back to that. Hi, Ian. We ensure a great gate for the ghosts and for the hosts, not the ghosts. Well, they may have been there. Who knows? With ghosts, you don't know, do you? Then lose the game to send them home happy. But narrow defeats at MK, Salford, and Bromley, so we're not far away. Hi, Sean. Myself and my son both said, here we go. After that first half, we should have been out of sight. Know what's going to follow. Daz, hi. Second half shocking, just like their facilities. One birthday I won't forget. Happy birthday, Daz. If you know what I mean, apart from Saturday, clearly. Kevin says, moaning about the goalkeeper, but did he make team of the week? I don't know. Did he make team of the week?
Yes, he did. He made the FL team of the week.
There you go. What can you say? What did Bromley change in the second half then? Rob, what did Bromley change in the second half? Or was it a fact that they got that goal early, then immediately made us panic a bit, stop playing? What was it?
No, I don't think they changed. I have to say, I think it was more a case of it's the timing of the goal, as Ray said earlier on, which was the crucial factor in that second half performance. I think the confidence was with Swindon in the first half. You could see that. If ever a team didn't need half time, it was Swindon. We were playing really well at that stage. Yeah. And Bromley didn't have an answer. If you remember, the goalkeeper took a ridiculous tactical timeout when he was complaining about such a poor leg. I do hope he's better this morning, I must say. But it was clearly because the manager had recognised that it just simply wasn't working. Swindon were completely outplaying them and completely outpassing them. They obviously had a 15-minute team talk where I imagine he threw a few cups at the wall. And he said, you've got to come out firing. You've got to come out and really get at them first and foremost, straight after half time. Whether we were sleeping, whether it was just a little bit of poor fortune, could have been a combination of both. But when you give you the advantage you've worked so hard for away inside the first minute of the second half, then the momentum is clearly going to shift in the game anyway. And for some inexplicable reason, we started trying to hit the ball long in the same way as they were doing. And let's be quite honest, if you try and hit it long at a 6'6" centre half, he's going to tend to win most of those headers, isn't he? And that's what happened second half. We just stopped playing our football.
And actually, I don't think it was
anything that Bromley did. I think it was more a case they did the same as what they were doing first half. Swindon just stopped playing.
It's fair to say, isn't it, that Drinham ripped them to bits in the first half. I mean, absolutely.
All those balls down the channels, Vic.
Yeah.
All the balls down the channels that we played in the first half. I mean, that first goal, you see it again. You see it from start to finish. It's a fabulous goal. It's a fabulous bit of movement, little one-touch play in the middle of the third. Lovely ball down the side. And the cross is on a plate for Holman, isn't it? But he's still got to finish it, and he did. It was just a fabulous goal. But if he'd have scored the second one, which was in terms of the one that was played through to him that the keeper saved with his foot, that goal could even been better. That was a fabulous move. Really, really good move. The one over the top where the centre half's missed his header, that's a bit different because the ball just wouldn't come down for him, would it?
No.
So it is, as we've all said it, fine margins. Either of those goals go in, we've got a 2-goal lead. I don't see Bromley coming back. A 1-goal lead can get wiped out in one move, and that's exactly what happened on Saturday.
His running reminds me of Peter Thorne. He kind of got that kind of hunt style, isn't he, Holman? He looks impressive, I have to say. Very good. And I was thinking about this today. What that chance reminded me of many years ago, Dave Bamber against Bournemouth. The ball just wouldn't drop to him in a crucial Easter game. It just wouldn't fall to his foot, and the chance went away. Okay, let's have a look. Anthony says there's an agenda against Ripley amongst some fans. Where were the centre halves for the winning goal? They're forward completely unmarked in the 6-yard box. Hi, Martin. Swindon are shipping too many cheap goals. The sooner Knight Labelle is back, the better. Dave Wright says, would you keep the goalie or change for Ward? Hi, Lee. I was so fed up in the second half. I went fishing in the potholes at the back. They were quite big, weren't they? Would you keep the goalie, Ray, or change for Lewis Ward? Big call.
Yeah. Personally, I keep it as it is at the moment. Yeah, I think, and again, we're lucky to have Lewis Ward, as a backup keeper as well. But, I would say, I would come down on the side of which one do you think is consistently going to be better? And in my opinion, that's probably Ripley. And I think, there's been a couple of issues recently, and that you can find fault on that winner, obviously, on Saturday. But there's been a lot of good stuff along the way as well, and everybody has little patches. So I think he needs to be given a chance to come out of. I don't see it as a big dip in form, but he needs to be given that chance to play through it. Obviously, if it became a longer-term thing, that's maybe a different conversation. So I would keep things as they are just at the minute.
Yeah, he held his hands up about the winner at Salford, didn't he, last week?
Yeah.
For the free kick. So what about you, Andy? Where do you stand on this?
I quite agree with Ray. I would keep Ripley in at the moment. I don't think it's a wise move to change him for Lewis Ward. As you say, Lewis Ward's a good replacement to have, but, let's be honest, Ripley's not really... Okay, he's made some errors recently, but on the whole, he's a good keeper. I do wonder about his fitness. He seems to have put on a little bit of weight, and you sort of wonder about that. But as things stand at the moment, I think let's stick with him, and then, let's see where we are in 2 or 3 games' time.
Very easy to blame a keeper, isn't it, Rob?
Yeah, it is. And we could be having a completely different conversation if Holman sticks in that one that doesn't drop, because it had been an assist for Ripley, wouldn't it? Because the goal kick was his. So again, it's these things just tend to turn around in games so often. I mean, I'm probably in the same camp as the other guys. I don't think he's done enough yet to deserve to lose his place. That being said, there should be an honest conversation taking place with the manager and him on the basis that Lewis Ward did nothing wrong in the games that he's played, and there would be an absolute case to turn around at the moment and say, Connor, you're not quite on your game. Don't forget Lewis is in the background waiting for his chance just to keep him on his toes. But for me, this isn't the time to change keepers.
If you remember, Lewis Ward had a really good EFL Trophy game, didn't he, at home, and looked really good in that. And then we all thought, oh, Ripley's form's improved. Whether that was because of that or just coincidental, who knows? But there we are. Sean says, and this is a good one because I've seen this a lot today. How come the club haven't posted about a price slash on Saturday? Fans only find out when they go to purchase. Now, I haven't got the figures in front of me, but I think adult tickets are £18 for Barrow. I haven't got the rest of them in front of me, but interesting. I don't know why they haven't publicised that one, Sean. I would think they probably would want to, because the more you get in against Barrow, the better, really, because they'll bring 50 probably.
A few more than Salford, because Salford don't have any fans. But apart from that, no, they won't have many.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not having a go at Barrow fans, because the ones who make the trip, bless them, so, as we know, it's a long way. So, interesting question. I think we are missing Clark. When is he back in the team? Now, I'm just going to go on Google a second. So I've just seen something flash up from our dear friends at the Swindon Advertiser. It said one midfielder in, one midfielder out. Now, I'm guessing that means that Clark is back in tomorrow, which we're all waiting to see with bated breath. I can't find it at the minute. I will try my best to find that. Ray, I would think if that is the case, it'll be very much welcome back to him, won't it?
For me, it will most definitely, because you put him into that side over the last 3 games, and do we get the exact same results? I don't think so. I think that bit of extra physicality Saturday, because was kind of land of the giants, wasn't it? That little bit of extra physicality would have helped us, I think, on Saturday. So for me, I think it's a good thing if he's back in tomorrow night. Most definitely.
Andy, you'll be welcoming him back, I guess, won't you?
Oh my goodness, yeah. He needs to come straight back in, add a bit of steel into the midfield. I don't think the results would have been the same, as Ray said. So yeah, he's got to come straight back in tomorrow. Hopefully, we don't get any sudden anything from the EFL to say that he can't. But who knows?
Well, let me read this. This is from the news conference held earlier. The question was, do you finally have Clark back? Yes, was the reply. He's a good player, so we'll see. I believe it when I see it, but it would be great if he is back out there. Yes, it's a difficult thing to take, to be honest, but we just have to get on with it. So hopefully he'll be back. Hopefully I can play him. Hopefully we won't get reported if we play him this time. He's got one quality. He's totally and utterly competitive, and he takes us more competitive. He makes us just a better team all round. So it would be great to have him back out there. There isn't any more I can say. It's quite simple, really. He wants to win. He helps us win. I'm delighted to have him. What did you take from that, Rob?
Well, I can count to 7, Vic, but I don't know if the EFL can. So in my eyes, he's back tomorrow night. But I have to say, it would not be beyond the realms of possibility for the team sheet to come out tomorrow night and at 7 o'clock the EFL turn around and say he's banned for 2 more games. That wouldn't shock me one little bit, and then they'll do us for having the wrong name on the team sheet. That's probably the way it'll work. But I mean, you simply can't legislate for anything that's gone on over the course of the last couple of weeks, can you? I mean, it's the story in itself is something that's quite bizarre, and then to play him at Luton with all the ramifications that potentially that has brought seems bizarre. The fact that, is it 7 games? Is it another ban? Are we able to play him again in another game? The fact that we're even having these conversations is just beyond the pale, really. It's bizarre, just utterly bizarre. And I would welcome him back as a player into that team straight away, because what don't we have at the moment? A holding midfield player. And what's Clark's ability? He could just sit in that hole, play there in directly behind Kilkenny in there, and Borland as well, who's made a real impression on me, I have to say, in the last couple of games. I think he looks a very good player. So I do think if he's fit and available, then he starts tomorrow night. But I don't think we can actually say whether he's fit or available yet. That's the problem.
No. Well, there was a yes immediately from Ian Holloway, and then hopefully. So who knows? This is from John. Hi, John. Big John's back. Once again, good backgrounds. On the goalkeeping subject, should we get Kovar back, who's now playing in the Champions League? Go figure. Anyway, gosh, loads of it coming in here. Right. Whew, gosh, loads and loads and loads. Where are we? Sorry, it's taking so long to do this. Oh yeah, here we go. I think we are missing Clark when he's back in the team. Well, we've discussed that just now. Hi, Jonathan. Totally agree with Rob's analysis. Did think at the time when we didn't take those chances in the first half, would we rue them? I think we all thought that, didn't we? How many goals have we conceded this season from not stopping the cross? It would be an interesting stat, I'm sure. Salford, how many goals have we conceded from crosses? I mean, that's, a real Achilles heel, isn't it? Sean says, best they double check with the FA first. I think hopefully there'll be phone conversations on the way to Meadow Lane tomorrow. Salford and Bromley are two form teams. Let's see where they are at the end of February after a kinder run of fixtures. That's from Peter Thomas Banting. I can see why Bromley win games at home. Small pitch, hard to play football on, says Gary. I would take a bit of issue with that, Ray, bearing in mind the amount of football we played in the first half, which was fantastic. Lots of little triangles, movement, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I would as well. Yeah, the pitch wasn't hindering us first half, that's for sure. No. And I don't, even if the pitch was a bit bigger, it wouldn't have changed the way they were. I don't think it wouldn't have changed their game at all, and it would probably have been just as effective. I think the point about like stopping crosses coming in, I totally agree with that, because I think that's where part of the problem was for both goals on Saturday. If you think actually about the number of balls that went into our box, the number of corners, etc., we actually didn't. Most of that we defended quite well, but it's just sheer volume. If it's law of averages, if you keep firing it in there, one of them is going to stick. And I think actually on average we were defending the crosses really well. We just got to stop the volume, and both the goals were examples of where we looked like we could have stopped it and didn't.
Yeah, I'm not panicking. So sure, we'll be after the next 4 or 5 games after tomorrow if we don't do well. Haven't heard from our US fan Gus since his visit on Newsday. Hope it didn't put him off, says Keith. Well, hopefully we'll hear from him soon. I was in touch with him Saturday, so he's still watching. The top of the table, Bromley at the top, 55 points from 27 games, 18 goal difference. That says a lot, doesn't it? 18 goal difference. In second place now, Salford, 49 from 26 with a 6 goal difference. And then come MK Dons finishing up the top 3, 47 from 27, 24 goal difference. And then into the playoff positions at 4th place, Cambridge United, 47 from 26, 12 goal difference. Then Walsall, who slipped to 5th, 47 from 26, 11 goal difference. Then comes Swindon, 46 from 26, 11 goal difference. And Notts County, tomorrow night's opposition, 46 from 26, with a 12 goal difference. I think we could only drop to 7th if we lose tomorrow night. I think I've looked at the league. That's as far as we can go down. But even that's a slide down from 2nd, isn't it? Notts County's last 6, Andy. Drawn, lost, 1-1. Our lost 6. 1 lost, 1-1, lost. So what do you make of that?
Yeah, on that seems like both teams are a little bit inconsistent at the moment. So it'll be quite an interesting game. Going back to our defence, sort of 4 or 5 games ago, we were all saying how our defence had improved. And, we'd cut out all these silly, silly goals that we were conceding. So, it almost feels like we're a little bit back to square one again, as far as the defence is concerned. What's caused that? I don't know. I don't know. It's something that the manager needs to probably have a look at and sort of, why has it started happening again? Why have we started making these silly little mistakes?
Is it because he keeps the defence isn't settled? Is that a point, Rob? I mean, or Randy, carry on. Yeah, what do you think?
I don't know. The whole team is changed at times, isn't it? Probably with the exception of the front line, but I don't think so. No, I don't think that is probably the issue. I'm not sure what the issue is, to be honest.
Rob? Change the defence.
Well, again, I'm just dissecting that a little bit further. Luton, we conceded to a penalty and defended pretty well from that apart. I can't remember really Luton having too many other really good chances. They had a lot of pressure, but not a lot of chances. Salford, we conceded a bad goal from a set piece and then an inexplicable goal which was a long ball forward, which the defence has been outrun. And then the third goal, when we were pushing to try and get back in the game, for some reason, 3 people have missed tackles for a throw in. Andy mentioned basic individual errors. You go then to Salford away, free header, not stopping a cross come in for the first goal. Second goal, a little bit unfortunate because we should have had a penalty clearly at the other end. But from that context, how have you been turned on the halfway line and not pulled somebody down to stop the break? That's what you've got to do. You've got to take a card sometimes. We didn't do it. And the third goal, that free kick, is Ripley has already held his hands up for it. He just took one slight step the wrong way, didn't he? Couldn't get there. They're small margins. And again, Bromley, we made 2 blocks before the goal went in. That equaliser. Those 2 blocks, that ball can bounce just about anywhere. It's our misfortune at the minute. It bounced straight back to somebody on the penalty spot who couldn't miss.
Yeah.
And the second goal could have stopped a cross. That seems to be the common theme. Can we stop the crosses? Because crosses, once they come in and you're playing against 6 foot plus centre forwards, are always going to be dangerous. And they've been poor goals, but we cannot lose the fact that we were defending better. We were defending much, much better. We've lost a little bit of that theme, and we've lost a little bit of confidence, I think, defensively. The changes probably haven't helped. I think if you look at, we've all talked about Mabetti, probably should have started 1 or 2 more games than he has based on his performances. But then on Saturday, he'd picked up an injury at Salford anyway, so couldn't have played. So I'm not sure you'd have made too many changes to that lineup. And if anybody had said on Saturday that the first half defensive show wasn't good enough, you'd have laughed at them, wouldn't you? Because we gave Bromley very few chances. It was 1 header at the far post with about 2 or 3 minutes of the first half left. Aside from that, I can't recall Bromley causing us a significant number of problems defensively. And maybe the changes during the game are sometimes the problem. Maybe that's where Holloway needs to take a little bit more of a check at what he's doing, because taking Wright off on Saturday seemed an odd one for me. Not necessarily because of what you could put on with the likes of McGregor, who's a better wing back, but you lose Wright's height in that penalty area to defend set pieces. And for me, the one thing you had to do on Saturday was make sure you got your biggest players on the pitch for as long as possible.
Yeah. James says, I think Stevie Wonder picks that team of the week. Stevie, a big fan of football, I think. We often see him in the town end. Hi, Gary. Salford referee was poor, from New Jersey, plays the saxophone properly, never kicked a football before. Great credentials for an EFL referee. Was involved in the music for La La Land, I think. And we all felt like La La Land at the end of that game. Expressive referees. He was very expressive, wasn't he? Just do the job, mate. Hi, Adrian. Why didn't Ollie speak to players by a sub, telling the players to play differently? We had Tabor stood next to us Saturday. Great guy to talk to. I did say to him, be careful not to get injured if we score. It was a bit bedlam, wasn't it? And actually, I did notice Jake Tabor was in the away end. Do you feel Ripley was impeded for the second goal or not? As I've seen them giving us fouls in other games. Well, they're all shaking their heads, so no to that. Views on that carnage where they kept blocking the ball from taking his throw. Now, though, I'm just trying to... I've got this thing from Swindon Town. Every January, the third Monday of the month is typically referred to as Blue Monday. The most depressing, motivation-free, mood-sucking day of the post-holiday year. However, Swindon Town are aiming to break this cycle with a cheeky ticket offer available from today for our upcoming match on January the 31st against Barrow. To celebrate the start of 2026, we're offering a blanket 26% off all match day ticket prices for the game only. To take advantage of this ticket offers and get your tickets online, blah, blah, blah. So there you are, 26% off tickets. So there you are. That answers that, doesn't it? I must admit, I didn't see that before, but never mind. The winning goal there was 3 defenders right there and didn't put any kind of challenge in. Didn't know how true this is, but was told Saturday that the authorities are looking into this situation where keepers drop to the ground when their team are under the cosh for next season. I mean, to be honest, Ray, let's get them beyond the joke now, isn't it?
Oh, it's absolutely ridiculous on Saturday. I mean, the guy was on treating him, he wasn't looking at the player at all, was he? He was just looking at the bench for how long he had to keep him down before he could. The manager had finished his team talk. It's pathetic, really. And I hope something happens in the close season to put it right, because it's just ridiculous.
We had Graham Scott, the former Premier League referee, on though, and he was saying the problem is there'll be one occasion when you think it's a false injury and don't let the trainer on, and then it will become a serious injury. So there is that to take into it, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. But I mean, there are possible solutions, aren't there? One is to put a cordon around the benches and that people can't go anywhere near it. The other I've seen touted around is that if a keeper goes down, an outfield player has to go off, like they do if they get injured as an outfield player. So you go down to 10 as a result of throwing a sickie kind of thing. But I think just a cordon around the benches, get them on the other side of the pitch or something would do it.
Or take the keeper off, Andy, for 30 seconds like an outfield player.
Yeah, I think that's a bit extreme, but I think a cordon round the bench is probably the best way to go. You know, make sure the players are over the other side of the pitch so they can't communicate with them. I think that's that has to be. There's a number of things where we need to look at, or the FA needs to look at time wasting. Another one was with throw-ins as well. The amount of time that's taken with throw-ins and the movement on throw-ins. The amount of ground that some of them tend to make up. That's another thing that they need to look at as well.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it, Rob? I see a lot at non-league level where after about 25 minutes, the keeper goes down. They all come off for a drinks break and then it all starts again. I mean, as I say, the trouble is sometimes it's going to be a serious injury. It just happens to be one that we all think isn't. But it is something they have to look at, isn't it?
Oh, it is. I mean, Sunday League's even doing it now, although they tend to come off for a fag and a can of beer rather than anything else. But the cordon around the bench is a much better idea. I mean, there's the fourth official's there that can police it. He's got very little else to do. So there's no reason at all why anyone should be allowed anywhere near the benches if there's a player being treated. And forget this drinks break malarkey. That's even worse, to be honest, for me. That's just taking time out of a game that's not necessary. And I don't ever subscribe to the fact that you can't bring a trainer on to treat a goalkeeper, because, as you said, there could be a serious injury there. It's very unlikely. I mean, I think the worst that goalkeeper did was split a hair on his leg, I think, on Saturday rather than anything else, because there was clearly nothing wrong with him. And for them then to make two brilliant saves almost directly after he's done that probably sums it up even more, doesn't it? But it is what it is. We could go on. We could have a whole program on time wasting. I mean, let's just berate for a moment the 8-second rule for goalkeepers getting rid of the ball in their hands when they take 8 minutes before they take a goal kick off the ground. Yeah. I mean, it's utterly frightening. And long throw-ins, well, let's take them 20 yards away from where they're supposed to be and take 2 minutes when we're doing it as well.
And then the referee makes them go back again, and then they go back to the exact spot that they took it from in the first place. So,
and we had the brilliant scenario, didn't we, at Salford? And I know we've seen Will Wright do it before, where, and I don't care what he says, there was a throw-in down by us in stoppage time, which was deliberately kept out of play. It wasn't thrown into play at all. And it was clearly evident that was done just to waste more seconds, because he knew he was going to get the ball back and he knew he was going to get another go. You could argue it's great time management. For me, it's a booking. For me, it's a yellow card.
There was another classic example on Saturday. There was a Bromley player went down in front of us looking as though he had a serious leg injury. The whole time sort of eventually smiling at the away fans as if to... I mean, it's just, hey, come on. But to be fair, if we were one up away from home tomorrow night at Notts County, and we said, come on, lads, let's play the game fair, we'd all be saying, hold on to the ball, get in the corner, waste time, we wouldn't we? I mean, let's be honest.
Well, the thing, Vic, is it's done by everybody. That's the whole point, isn't it? It's horrible when it happens to you. You laugh about it when you're the ones who are doing it. But the bottom line is, if the EFL want to grab any semblance of respectability back, they need to do something about it.
Yeah. Let's have a look at Notts County on Saturday. They beat Crewe by 0-0. Alassana Jatta got the goal. It's his 10th league goal of the season, and an assist from Nick Sarula. And that was the way that he finished on Saturday for Notts County. There's some more stats from Saturday. Bromley had 20 shots. Swindon had 12. On target, Bromley 7, Swindon 5. Touches inside the box, Bromley 30, Swindon 19. Goalkeeper saves, Bromley 4, Swindon 5. Well, it was an excellent save by Ripley just before the end as well. It could have been 3-1, couldn't it? So we should mention that one. Touched inside the box, Bromley 30, Swindon 19. So lots of stats there, but the only one that really matters, Bromley had 8 corners, Swindon 4. The only one that really matters, they won 2-1. So there you go. Let's have a look at more of your comments. Hi, Dave. Cheers, lads. I have to go. Always a great watch on a Monday. Thank you, Dave. Nice of you to say that. Clark won't be fit. Mad if you play him. I'm not panicking. We played most of the top teams away or twice. We're missing Butterworth. Can't wait for him to come back. Says Barry. I think we all would agree with that. He was at Salford last Tuesday night.
Tuesday, yeah.
Loss of Monroe is an issue that Holloway can't make go away. I think he highlighted that after the game on Saturday. Ian, I think we dealt with this. Do you think Ripley was impeded for the second goal or not? As I feel it was a foul, and I've seen given in other games. I think the referee would say that Ripley jumped afterwards into the player rather than went for the ball. I think that's probably what the referee would say. Who am I to speak for the referees? Doesn't need to be pretty at the back. Just get the ball out. Oh, yes. Hi, Phil. Knight LaBelle has been key. He was alert, quick and strong on the ground and in the air. Hopefully he's back soon. Dad says, not wanting to sound negative, last time we lost 4 games in a row during the latter part of the 2023-24 season. During that period, we suffered a 5-match losing streak between March and April 2024. Okay. Right, let's go back to that question from Kevin, right back at the start, which I said at Park. Are we concerned, Ray, about not only missing out the top 3, but the playoffs? What's your view on that?
I'm certainly not at that point at the moment. I think you've got to look at the positives and what we've done all season. The fine margins of these last few games, and they've been against top teams that are on really good runs as well. Then you've got to look at our squad. We got the 4 guys coming in. The general sort of first glimpses look good, so they'll bed in. You got the likes of Knight LaBelle, Ollie Clark to come back in, people like that. So actually, we've been thinking all season that our first 11 looks good and we got a good bench. We're definitely going to be returning to that if we haven't been anyway. So I actually think we're not looking in that bad a shape. We just got to. I don't like the knee jerk, like everything's brilliant or everything's rubbish. You've got to be, a bit sensible about where we are. We're having a sticky patch, and there's no reason why we'll kind of implode. It's my opinion. I think we've got enough going for us to suggest to me that we won't implode.
If we win tomorrow night, Andy, we could be back in the top 3. So it's all pretty tight, isn't it?
Exactly right. I'm of the opinion that, we've got 3 games coming up. We've got Notts County, followed by Barrow and Harrogate. If we're not getting positive results, especially against Barrow and Harrogate, then you start to, there's a bit of concern coming in. But if we're in a good position and we've had 2 good results, both against Barrow and Harrogate, and got something against Notts County, then, we're still there or thereabouts. So I'm not worried at the moment.
Rob?
No, share those sentiments. I think the one thing I'd chuck in to add to it really is we've signed, 3 new players, 4 new players, all Kigby as well, and we haven't had a training session for any of them yet, because they've all been in here and we've been playing Tuesday, Saturday. So let's give them a chance to bed their formations in. We're literally going game by game, rest day, travel day, back to a football match, aren't we? Pretty much week after week at the moment. So
that's just us fans.
Well, yeah, exactly that. Yeah, absolutely. So you've got to put all these things together, and we've still got a week of the window left. I'm sure Ian Holloway hasn't done all his business yet. I'm sure there's more to come. And let's see where we are. I think Andy just summed it up quite well. Let's see where we are after Harrogate next Tuesday, because if we're still even at worst in the last playoff position, I think we are then still right in it when you look at the teams that we've played, the teams we've still got to play, and the fact that our squad is strong enough. What I'd like to see is obviously at least 6 points from those 9 available. If we can get that, we will be comfortably back in the playoff picture again, and things will turn around quite quickly in terms of people's optimism.
Yeah, I think as football fans, Ray, we don't have middle emotions, do we? We have either high or low emotions. That's the way it is, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and I think even more so these days than before. Really, I think a lot of life's like that. Social media is like that on most topics, isn't it? But I think it very much is like it's either everything's great or everything's rubbish, and the reality is it's never usually those two.
Hi, Mark. Brush ourselves down. Go again tomorrow night and Saturday. Let's get behind the town. The West Ham 21 game coach actually walked down the touchline to tell keeper to stay down. Remember. We certainly do. Here's a good suggestion from Nick. Why can't the linesman spray the mark on the pitch for the throw-ins, just like the ref for free kicks? Discuss, Andy.
Yeah, it's worth thinking about, isn't it? Not sure. I'm not sure it would work. I don't know. But it's worth thinking. Anything's worth thinking about that's going to speed up the game. And that's what you've got to look at, is trying to speed up the game, get rid of all this, try and do something about this goalkeeper situation, try to do something about goal kicks, try to do something about throw-ins, and try and speed the game up. We were on mentioning earlier about playing for time and going into the corners, but, it's still in play, isn't it, if you're doing that? So to me, that's not so much of an issue. It's when the ball goes out of play and you're trying to speed things up from that point.
It's an interesting one, Rob, because I first saw the spray thing in the States in an MLS game, and you thought, oh, those Americans. And now we have that innovation, don't we? I don't think that's a bad idea, and if the linesman sort of stood kind of the other side of it, I think that'd be quite a decent idea, wouldn't it?
I like the idea. The problem you've got, obviously, is the fact that linesmen only do one half of the pitch.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So you do have an issue for effectively two quarters, for want of a better expression, because you won't have a linesman there. I don't dislike the idea, though, I have to say, in terms of if it could be made practically possible. What for me, again, it's the fact that if you try and speed the game up by taking the throw in the wrong place, the referee pulls you up on it, and then every player then goes back to take the ball and the throw in to at least the same place with which they were told not to take it from originally, and the referee lets them get away with it.
Yeah,
that happens time and time again. The ref will argue that the advantage they'd have got from taking the quick throw in means that it doesn't really matter where they take it from now. But a team like Bromley, it really does. Because when you can hurl the ball into the penalty area from 5 yards inside your own half, then you've got yourself a problem, whichever area they try and gain some advantage from. So there definitely is merit in trying to do something about long throw-ins. I think there's something there for me. But the one for me, and again, I mentioned it earlier on, in terms of speeding the game up, 8 seconds for a goalkeeper with the ball in their hands probably isn't quite long enough. It should be 10 to give them a real opportunity. But to give them absolutely no guidance whatsoever as to how long they can take when the ball goes off the pitch to take a goal kick. The amount of time that's now wasted with people taking goal kicks by feigning to do short kicks to defenders inside the penalty area, then waving them away and things like that. That's the biggest bugbear for me at the moment.
Yeah, I've only seen that 8 seconds rule applied once, I think, this season at the County Ground. That was a one corner. But it always makes me laugh when the referee holds his hands up and says 5, 4, and then turns his back. So he doesn't know whether the keeper's left. He doesn't know whether his keeper's left it going or not. Darren says, poorest league for 2 years. We can still turn this around and get out of this division. It's called a football season for a reason. No panic yet. I went on the Swindon tour around the County Ground on Thursday. Excellent. Dick Mattock organises those, of course. Spoke with John Trollope. He said in 1969, they had 15 players in the squad and they were frightened to get injured because you would lose your place. Imagine doing that with 15 players in this day and age. Well, I could bleat endlessly on about the 68-69 squad all night if you want me to, but poor Owen Dawson was the one man who missed out, of course, through injury in the League Cup final. But what a squad that was, and what pitches they played on. Let's not forget that. John Trollope, who broke his arm after 368 consecutive games, fought his way back in, though, and played in that day at Wembley in March 1969. What a day. Hi, Jeff. After County, there are 7 winnable games. Can I go on about 68-69 a bit more, or should I stop now? Hi, Daryl. Introduced my son to Swindon over the past few seasons. Haven't really been to the county ground since the Steve McMahon days. My 8-year-old loves it, and I confess it's drawn me back on. Great ground, great personalities. It's a great club and great learning for the lad. Looking forward to see what we can do with this. Ray, a positive comment about that. That's fabulous, isn't it? Don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. And there should be plenty, shouldn't there? Really, let's be honest. But it's not been a bad season, has it, so far?
No.
So that connection with the club's a really big thing. That's bigger than any kind of anybody's tenure, isn't it? That's about the bigger picture. So it's really nice to hear that. But why shouldn't we have some positivity? Really, there are plenty of reasons to be upbeat.
Yeah, and an 8-year-old who's come to the football club and he's loving it. I mean,
yeah,
that's either a lifetime of joy or a lifetime of misery. I'm not sure which way you would put it, but it's fabulous.
Yeah, well, it results in people being hooked, and it's what happened to us, isn't it? And not that we should put off an 8-year-old saying what's happened to us, but no, but it is. That's what kind of draws you in. Sorry, Vic, just going back on the previous one about the time waste, and the other thing that does my head in is the preparation for corners, which the ref is involved in, where there's always pushing and shoving. He blows his whistle, he blows and pushes 2 people away. Why are we still messing around with that? Surely that can be sorted as well.
Yeah, and the pulling of shirts, that's another issue, isn't it? Which seems to have disappeared. You can pull anybody's shirt off his back as much as you want by the look of it. Hi, Charlie Browns. We're in a better position at the same point of the season last year. We certainly are. Delaney's departure frees up a wage, still a lone slot to fill. And Mark says he's seen on social media that Ian Holloway has 50% wins so far this season, the best of all our managers over the years. I think it's 50%, Andy, since he's come in. Which is remarkable. It's sort of late October, November last year, or the year before last. I mean, that's a remarkable record, isn't it?
It is. I was only looking at that earlier, funnily enough, to see how it how it compared to his other clubs, and it's better than virtually everywhere he's been. So, okay, and he's played. I think he's 70 odd games, I think now. So it's a good amount of games, and still to be on 50% is really good. So you can't knock him there.
No, I think, Rob, if you went through football, any manager with a 50% win rate, you're right up there, aren't you?
You're being coveted by other clubs, generally speaking, aren't you? If you've got a win rate at that level, and certainly in terms of what he's achieved from let's be honest, was the lowest base when he took over from Mark Kennedy. It's not like he inherited a winning side, is it? He had to turn the fortunes around very, very quickly, which he did last season in a most delightful way. Let's be honest. Some of those games we saw in the second half of last season were just an absolute pleasure to watch. Goals going in all over the place. Yeah. It's become a little bit more pressing, I guess, the lens on him and the lens on the team this season, because we're just so desperate to get out of this division. And maybe a lot of the people's comments in terms of why they're so concerned now just stems from that one fact. This is our good opportunity. It's our best opportunity for a long, long time. And nobody wants us to waste it. We haven't wasted it at Bromley and Salford. We've just been unfortunate. If we go and lose to Barrow and Harrogate, then we will start panicking.
Your jumper's coming in for a bit of stick from John.
Might that be because it's Notts County colours, perhaps?
No, Rob, you can have a go at him Saturday if you want. Anyway, but he says shirt display is improving, but I think his sweater is a crime against humanity. Christmas present.
Just tell him it's a reverse test card. I've gone back to black and white days.
You can pick that up with him on the Saturday. You can do that with him. Yes. Anyway. We could go on about John's attire, but we won't. That'd be rude, wouldn't it? Ollie goes on about time management with the players. Back in 1990, didn't we go so many games with the same lineup? How things have changed. I think Ardiles picked the same team for 27 games in a row, Ray, which is extraordinary, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. But times change, don't they? The thought processes are different now around sports science, and is the game it more physical in terms of demands on a player now? I think it might be. I mean, it was never easy, was it? Football was still hard. It was hard-fought games back then. But no, I think with the sports science era is where we are, and I think we'll continue to talk about minutes in in certain players and trying to ease them in a sensible way. I guess the only way that you really know if it works is if you look at a big bit of data back from the 90s and then looked at it again over the last 2 or 3 years or something where people's time is managed more. What's the injury situation? That would probably tell you really what thought process it is the right one. But then you get freaks of nature as well, don't you? If you steer clear of injuries, you can sometimes get that lucky run of injuries that allows you to play the same side. So there's a lot of things that factor into it. But I think the players are running harder than they've ever done. Probably, it's a physical game now. So I kind of see it from both sides, really.
Yeah, I remember going down every Friday and talking to Ozzy and saying, "Same team, yep." Okay, that's that then. That's the end of that. Was Bromley's technical box legal? The linesman appeared unsighted in the first half when the ball clearly went out that play. And then there was that incident, Andy, with the red card and then a yellow card and, people being obstructed with throw-ins and all that kind of stuff. It did seem very tight, but hey, that's the way it is sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. There's not much more you can say about that, really, is there? So, yeah, it's just one of them things. Going back to what Ray was saying, about the game finishing or the game changing, you've got to remember pitches were a lot heavier then, so it took its toll. Equipment wasn't as good. Balls were heavier, footwear was heavier, even your kit was a lot heavier.
Yeah.
So you've got to, when you take all that into consideration as well, pitches now, you look at our pitch now, it's unbelievable. Yes, enables us to run more and faster. Imagine trying to run the sort of distances and the speed that they run playing on that pitch that everyone remembers that we played on against Everton, back in the 70s. You had no chance, did you? So, yeah, it's I can see it both ways, but, yeah, those players played a lot, didn't they, with very, very difficult conditions and nowhere near the equipment that we have nowadays.
I had to catch on social media today. There was they showed the highlights of the Crystal Palace 5, Man United 0 game with Don Rogers destroyed them, and that pitch was like a glue pot. Unbelievable. Hi, Ivor. When I played in goal, you had to take the goal kick from the side where the ball went off the pitch, not take your time walking to the other side of the 6-yard box to take it, then being corrected by the referee and taking it back to the original place. Blah, blah, blah. Falls Rush in, 9 o'clock. STF podcast and vlog. Looking forward to seeing a number of you tomorrow. We look forward to that, and good luck at 9 o'clock tonight. Gary says Clem says Saturday. Got a feeling one good signing before deadline day, which is next Monday. Rob, what are we expecting?
Business. I don't think we're done yet. I do think the Finley Munro situation will resolve in another new player. I'm not going to get committed on who it might be because I'm just hoping that Middlesbrough might see sense and send him here for the rest of the season. But I do think if they don't, then we will be doing business for a left back before the windows finishes. I think the Stackham and Rackham scenario from Mr. Holloway probably means there'll be another forward coming through the door as well, and possibly he may still want some more cover elsewhere in the team as well. So I think at least two more come in. I'm not sure we'll lose anyone. I think he may let a couple of the younger professionals go out on loan again, but I don't really see much more. Tabor may very well find himself a new home for the second half of the season as well, just on loan, because he probably won't get many minutes. But I can't really foresee much more than that, really.
You would hope, Ray, wouldn't you, that Ollie's on the phone to his Middlesbrough counterpart and saying, Finley really wants to come back to Swindon.
You certainly would, but he's been in the mix already, though, hasn't he? As well. I don't know whether that's a good or bad sign, but he's did he get a few minutes at the weekend?
He did, yeah.
Did he what for Middlesbrough first?
Yeah,
bench,
yeah.
But that he can still come back to Swindon, can't he? Is that right?
He can only come back to Swindon.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. But in terms of others, I'm probably the same camp as Rob, where I think there'll be if there are others, and yeah, definitely something on that left hand side, and I think it'll be another forward as well. Probably, it'd be nice to have another kind of physical midfielder in the mix. I think, but I don't think that'll happen because we've already brought in two players in that central area who both potentially very good players, but Clark is our kind of one physical guy, isn't he? In there, that's
I see Paul Mullin has been linked.
Yeah.
Show that out.
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah.
Andy?
Yeah, I can see probably, and as Rob said, another one coming in. I'd love it for it to be Finley Munro to come back, but I don't know. I don't think he'll be coming back now. I think he's on the verges, isn't he, of the first team up there. He's playing regularly for the under-21s and doing well, so I can't see him coming back. But we need something in there, and I think at least another one person coming in for me.
I think we all agree that Finley Munro's on the verge of great things, and we wish him well, whether he comes back or not. I think we'll remember his loan spell. We don't often remember loan players very much, but I think with him, we will remember his time at Swindon. He was very, very good indeed for us. So quickly, gentlemen, tomorrow night, Meadow Lane, we're all going, I assume. It'll be cold in the East Midlands. It always is. Rob?
2-2.
Ray?
1-1.
Andy?
Okay, I'll go 2-1 to us.
Oh, well, fair enough. Okay, we'll take that. I don't have to have a view, obviously, as chair, so that just gets me out of it. Thank you very much indeed. We had a lot to discuss tonight, and bearing in mind it's only January, my goodness me, there's a long way to go yet, but who knows? It can all unfold in the next few months, Chris.
Certainly can, but a nice win tomorrow. I'm going 2-0. But a nice win tomorrow will set us up nicely for Barrow on Saturday. And
there's no David McGoldrick. We should remember that. There's no Fantastic.
That's one advantage. There you go. Thanks very much, guys, for coming on. Vic and I will be back next week. We will be reviewing Notts County and Barrow. So we will be back then and looking forward to Harrogate. Yay! So we'll see you all soon. Take care and see you next week.
See you later.
Bye all.